The first thing people imagine about working in an alien hospital is advanced technology, floating diagnostic screens, glowing instruments, machines that can rebuild bones in seconds. They're not wrong. But the real shock isn't the technology. It's the people, or beings. My name is Daniel Carter, and I'm the only human medical liaison stationed aboard Aurelian Station, the largest interspecies medical complex in the Orion sector. The station is massive, 20 kilometers of rotating corridors, laboratories, emergency wards, and quarantine zones. Thousands of species pass through every month, each with their own biology, culture, and medical needs. And somehow, I ended up working there. At first, I thought the hardest part would be learning alien anatomy. I was wrong. The hardest part was learning alien customs, especially compliments. Because on Earth, telling someone they look nice is harmless. On Aurelian Station, it can start a diplomatic incident, or make an alien nurse nearly faint. My first week had been chaos. I spent most of my time memorizing species charts. The Kelrothi had translucent bones. The Ulvani had 3 hearts. The Sirith shed their skin every 30 days and considered it deeply embarrassing if anyone witnessed it. Every day I learned something new, but nothing prepared me for Nurse Lyra. I first saw her during my 3rd shift. She was standing at the central triage console, reviewing patient data with the calm focus of someone who had done the job for years. Lyra belonged to a species called the Varelians. Tall, graceful, skin that shimmered faintly silver under the station lights. Her eyes were deep violet, glowing softly like distant stars. Thin bioluminescent lines ran along her arms, pulsing gently with her heartbeat. Honestly, she looked like she had stepped out of a science fiction painting. And she moved with quiet confidence, efficient, precise, and completely composed. Everyone respected her, even the senior doctors. "Human Carter," she said the first time we met, her voice smooth and melodic. "You are assigned to my triage rotation today." I nodded quickly. Yes. "Nice to meet you." She studied me with curious eyes. "Your species displays nervous energy when encountering unfamiliar environments." "That obvious?" She tilted her head slightly. "Yes." "Great. First impression, nervous human." "Perfect." The shift went smoothly. Lyra worked flawlessly, moving between patients with calm professionalism. She explained procedures clearly and corrected my mistakes without embarrassment. By the end of the shift, I felt like I had survived my first real day. Then something unexpected happened. A new patient arrived, a massive reptilian creature with severe plasma burns. The emergency ward exploded into motion. Doctors rushed around. Medical drones activated. Lyra took command immediately. "Stabilize oxygen circulation. Prepare dermal regeneration field." I followed her instructions, helping adjust the human-compatible monitoring systems. Minutes passed. Finally, the patient stabilized. The ward slowly relaxed. I leaned against a console, exhausted. Lyra turned toward me. Her bioluminescent markings glowed softly. "You performed efficiently under pressure," she said. "Thanks." Then I noticed something. She had changed uniforms during the emergency. The new one was deep blue, lined with faint silver threads that matched her glowing markings. It looked incredible. Without thinking, I smiled and said the most normal thing in the world. "By the way, that uniform looks great on you. You look stunning." The words left my mouth before my brain had time to stop them. And the universe froze. Middle. Lyra blinked. Once. Twice. Her glowing markings suddenly pulsed brighter. Her eyes widened. Then she staggered backward slightly. I panicked. Oh no. Did I say something wrong? The room had gone quiet. 2 alien nurses nearby had stopped moving entirely. One of them dropped a datapad. Lyra placed a hand against the console, as if steadying herself. Her voice came out faint. You said I appear stunning? Yeah. Her bioluminescent lines flashed bright silver. Then purple. Then silver again. The other nurse whispered something in a language I didn't understand. Lyra looked like she might collapse. I immediately grabbed a chair. Whoa, hey, sit down. She sat slowly, still staring at me in shock. My heart pounded. What had I done? Did I insult her species? Did stunning mean something terrible in Varelian culture? Was I about to start an interspecies HR investigation? Lyra? I asked carefully. Her voice trembled. Human Carter, why would you say such a thing? Because you look nice? The room went silent again. The other nurses stared like they were watching a live drama. Lyra's eyes widened even more. You meant it sincerely? Of course. She pressed both hands against the console. Her glowing markings were now flashing rapidly. You must retract it. What? You must retract the statement immediately. Why? Before she could answer, a tall alien doctor walked into the room. Dr. Velker, the station's chief surgeon. A massive insectoid being with 4 arms and brilliant emerald eyes. He looked between us. Why has Triab halted? One of the nurses pointed at me. The human complimented Lyra. Velker froze. Slowly, he turned toward me. Human Carter, repeat what you said. I felt my stomach sink. I told her she looked stunning. Velker's mandibles clicked together. Then, unexpectedly, he made a sound that sounded suspiciously like laughter. Oh. He looked at Lyra, then at me, then laughed again. This explains everything. I blinked. What explains what? Velker leaned against the console casually. Human Carter, are you aware of the cultural meaning of personal admiration among Varelians? No. Lyra buried her face in her hands. Velker continued. In Varelian society, openly declaring another individual visually exceptional, especially using a word equivalent to stunning, is traditionally reserved for a very specific context. My stomach tightened. What context? Velker's emerald eyes gleamed. A marriage proposal. The entire ward erupted in whispers. My brain shut down. What? Lyra's glowing markings were now blazing bright violet. Velker nodded calmly. Yes. You have effectively announced your intention to bond with Nurse Lyra. I what? Lyra groaned quietly. You see the problem. I stared at her in horror. Lyra, I swear I didn't mean. I know, she said quickly. Then she paused. But the declaration has already been witnessed. The 2 nurses nodded solemnly. Witnessed, one said. This is insane, I said. Velker shrugged. Different cultures. I rubbed my face. Okay. So, what happens now? Lyra slowly stood. Her glowing markings were calming slightly. There are 2 possible outcomes. Please tell me one of them is we forget this ever happened. No. Of course not. Very interesting. The first option, she continued, is that you formally withdraw the statement in the presence of witnesses. Good. Let's do that. She hesitated. There is a complication. I groaned. What complication? Public withdrawal implies the compliment was false. So, in Varelian culture, that is considered a severe insult. I stared at her. So, if I take it back, I insult you. Yes. And if I don't, you are declaring romantic interest. I looked around the room. Every nurse was watching. Velker was still smiling. This station is ridiculous, I muttered. Lyra sighed softly. You did not know our customs. I will explain the situation to administration. But before she could move, the station intercom activated. Attention! Incoming emergency transport. Lyra instantly snapped back into professional mode. medical teams to Bay 3. She looked at me. Human Carter, we will discuss later. And just like that, the moment was postponed. But the whispers followed us all day. By the time the shift ended, the entire hospital had heard. Ending over the next 3 days, things became complicated. Everywhere I went, alien staff looked at me with curiosity. Some smiled. Some nodded approvingly. One doctor gave me a thumbs up despite having 6 fingers. Apparently, rumors traveled faster than light on Aurelian Station. The human proposed to Lyra. The human chose the Varelian nurse. The human declared her stunning. I wanted to crawl into an airlock. Lyra handled it with quiet dignity.
But she avoided me most of the time.
Until finally 3 days later she asked to speak with me. We met in the quiet observation lounge, overlooking the stars. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The station rotated slowly outside the window. Lyra's glowing markings were calm tonight. Soft silver. I have spoken with administration, she said. And they agree this was a cultural misunderstanding. I sighed with relief. So we're good. She nodded. Yes. Then she paused. But there is something I wish to ask you.
Sure.
She looked at me carefully. When you said I looked stunning, you meant it honestly? Yeah, I said. Her eyes softened slightly. In Varelian culture, compliments are rare. We reserve them for deep emotional bonds. Humans say them all the time. I have learned that. She stepped closer. But even so, sincerity still has meaning. I scratched the back of my neck. Well, I meant it. She smiled faintly. And I appreciate that. The silence returned. Then she surprised me. Human Carter, may I ask something unusual? Go ahead. If I wished to experience human social customs, would it be acceptable for us to share a meal together? I blinked. You mean dinner? Yes. I grinned. I think humans call that a date. Her glowing markings flickered softly. Then, perhaps we should call it a cultural exchange. I laughed.
Deal.
As we left the observation lounge together, I realized something strange. What started as the most awkward compliment in the galaxy might actually turn into something real. And next time, I'd definitely be more careful with my words.
Probably.
But honestly, if telling an alien nurse she looked stunning could nearly collapse an entire hospital, I had a feeling life on Aurelian Station was going to stay interesting.
Very.